When's the first time you ever crossed paths with Robert Duvall?
We had the same agent over at William Morris in late 80s. And he said, you and Duvall really need to know each other. And Bobby had seen this movie that Tom and I wrote called One False Move, which was the thing that kind of put us on the map as writers in Hollywood, not with the public as much, but, within the business. And I guess that was 90, 91, somewhere in there. But Bobby liked that movie a lot. And we just, started hanging out. And
what was that like, man? What's it like hanging out with Robert Duvall, Billy Bob?
Well, Bobby had a very quick wit and he had two kinds of senses of humor. He had this really dry irony, and then he had this sort of Three Stooges sense of humor. Like he had a dog named Gus, a little Jack Russell Terrier. And I remember being at the Four Seasons in Austin, Texas. I was meeting Bobby over there, and he had Gus with him, and he sicked Gus on me. He said, "Go get him, Gus." And Gus came and bit me on the leg, and Bobby thought that was the funniest thing on earth. But anyway, so he was my mentor. To be plain and simple about it, he is the guy that I looked up to. And I grew up in music. I didn't know I was going to be an actor, but there are certain things even before I ever thought anything about being in movies that I'd seen him in that really struck me. And so the character in Sling Blade, has a little bit of Boo Radley,
Sure.
And but he just he showed me that yes, you can be real, you can be natural in this stuff. And Bobby didn't like to talk about acting, and people, they always ask him. I did a long interview about Bobby yesterday, and the writer wanted to know what acting tips I got from him.
Right.
And he just didn't like to talk about acting. He would talk about the movies, the experience of making something. He would tell you about stuff like, that actor over there, I don't know about him. I don't think I trust that guy, and that kind of thing. So he would say stuff like that, or he would tell you about a director he didn't like, or, somebody on the set that, slept with all their grips or whatever, it was
some Hollywood tea, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So what did you pick up? What did you pick up from him then? Like watching him as a fellow actor or a director or being directed by him, what did you glean being around him then?
Well, really, that you can take all the methods in the world, all the tricks, and they don't mean anything if you're not real in the moment and in the situation. For instance, when it says in a script, Terry breaks down in tears or whatever, I've probably never cried in a movie where it said I was supposed to, but I have in places where it said I didn't say I was supposed to. Mm. And Bobby and I talked about that once, and he said, that's the thing. He says, whatever you're feeling right now, just be in that situation, And it was a style of, naturalistic acting. He probably, he did some other things where he did have to study up more than I did. Like he would play people with accents a lot of times, like, he played Stalin and, people like that. So, sometimes he was very hardworking and studied in his characters, when he had to play someone that far from himself. But yeah.
Hey, you made it all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Check us out every single day streaming live on Disney Plus and the ESPN app, 12 to 3 Eastern.